Vicious attacks, lives taken, futures robbed, and the devil next door. All of this and more in today's episode of Did You Know? On February 21, 2001, 22-year-old fashion student Ashley Ellerin was preparing for a date she would have with rising star Ashton Kutcher. And just like any other normal date, her man of the night was running late. Ashley met Ashton in December 2000, and they started a relationship in February of 2001. And on that very day, he was going to take her to the post-Grammys party. At 8:24 p.m., Kutcher spoke with Ashley through the phone and was told that she had just gotten out of the shower. Around 10:45 p.m., Kutcher arrived at her LA apartment. The lights were on, so he called out to her but got no response. He thought that maybe she got upset about his tardiness and just went ahead of him. Before leaving, he peeked through the windows and saw what he described as a wine stain on the floor. He wasn't worried upon seeing that, since he says that a few days ago she had a party in her apartment. But little did he know that one day he would testify in court for her. Within 24 hours, Ashley Ellerin's dead body would then be found. She was stabbed 47 times and was nearly decapitated from the attack. Prior to her murder, it was believed that she had a stalker, after her alleged killer had started showing up at her apartment unannounced, offering to fix things around the house. That person was Michael Gargiulo. They first met when Gargiulo introduced himself while she changed a flat tire outside her Hollywood Hills home. Gargiulo was seen as a quiet man, or someone who doesn't stand out, and that is why Ashley did not see him as a threat in any way. But Gargiulo became obsessed with her, inviting himself over to her bungalow, and on one occasion, he was seen in his car watching Ashley through a window in her home. Unfortunately, Ashley wasn't going to be the only victim of Gargiulo's obsession. In December of 2005, Maria Bruno, a 32-year-old mother of 4, lived in the same apartment complex as Gargiulo in Los Angeles suburb of Elmont. She was stabbed multiple times and her breasts were removed. But Gargiulo made sure not to leave much evidence on the scene. It was said in court that investigators were able to match DNA on a surgical blue boot cover found outside the apartment to Bruno and Gargiulo. On April 28, 2008, Michelle Murphy, 27 years old, was asleep in the bedroom of her Santa Monica apartment. She woke to find Gargiulo on top of her, stabbing her. Murphy fought back, and during the ordeal, Gargiulo cut his hand on the knife that made him leave a trail of blood on the scene. Murphy was a 5'1" woman, but despite her size, she was able to fight back to Gargiulo, pushing him off the bed. And before fleeing her apartment, he turned to her and said, "I'm sorry." Murphy called the police, and the blood left at the scene was investigated and was ran through a national database and matched Gargiulo. When the search for him commenced, it was found out that he just lived an alleyway from Murphy and that he even had a direct view of her bedroom. Then, they were able to track and arrest Gargiulo a month later. But before the murders and attacks Gargiulo made in the year 2000s, namely 2001, 2005, and 2008, he may have murdered another victim as early as 1993. He was a suspect in the murder of Trisha Pecoraro. Trisha was a popular graduate from Glenbrook South High School. She was seen as a beautiful person inside and out, and that she befriended everyone wholeheartedly. Pecoraro was supposed to head to Purdue University that year to study engineering and environmental issues, which unfortunately would never happen. On August 13, 1993, Trisha and her best friend Karen Jones joined their school friends for an evening that kicked off with a road rally scavenger hunt. At the end of the night, they were dropped back to their homes. The next day, Karen had another party she attended, but this time she was alone. When she got home, her dad met her by the door, and by the look on his face, she could tell right away that something was wrong. The first thing they said to her was, "Trisha's dead." On the morning of August 14, 1993, Rick Pecoraro, Trisha's father, found her dead lying on the steps. She had been stabbed dozens of times, and the wounds punctured her heart, lung, abdomen, back, and her left arm had been snapped from being twisted too hard. Trisha and Gargiulo knew each other since Trisha grew up just a block away from him, and he was even friends with her brother. In 2003, DNA collected from underneath Trisha's fingernails matched Gargiulo, but State Attorney Anita Alvarez said that the DNA was not enough evidence to charge Gargiulo, since it could have been from casual contact, especially that Gargiulo had driven Trisha to a friend's house 2 days before her murder. The case soon went cold, and in the ensuing years, Gargiulo moved west to Los Angeles, California, to continue his attacks. So, who is Michael Gargiulo? His full name is Michael Thomas Gargiulo, and he was born on February 15, 1976 in Northfield Township, Illinois. He was a former air conditioner repairman, and at the age of 43, he was charged with the murder of 2 women, Ashley Ellerin and Maria Bruno, and an attempted murder of Michelle Murphy, and is suspected for the murder of Trisha Pecoraro. He is dubbed as the Hollywood Ripper, or the boy next door killer, since he always lived in the proximity of the women he attacked and murdered. So what's currently happening with the case? In 2011, the news magazine 48 Hours premiered an episode covering Gargiulo's case, or the Hollywood Ripper's case. Because of this, 2 men then reached out and claimed that they have a tip about Gargiulo. Temer Leary and Anthony DiLorenzo were bouncers who worked with Gargiulo in Hollywood, and they had a chat that ended up with Gargiulo allegedly admitting his murder of Trisha. Gargiulo asked them, "You guys ever kill anybody?" And then he said, "I have." And then he added, "Yeah, I buried a bitch. I left the bitch on the steps for dead." The authorities in Cook County, Illinois were then alerted about this information, and Gargiulo was finally charged in July 2011 with the 1993 murder of Trisha Pecoraro. In 2019, Gargiulo went on trial in California, and he was found guilty of 2 murders and an attempted murder. The jury recommended he be sentenced to death. A Superior Court judge set a formal sentencing date for February 28, 2020, but it has since been delayed after a defense motion was filed seeking a new trial, claiming that the prosecution failed to provide information about the credibility of a detective who testified. Gargiulo's trial in Illinois for the murder of Trisha has yet to be scheduled.
Hi everybody, it's your creepy sister here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. And if ever you want to send me a story to read, you can send it to my email, which is in the description of the video. If you want to follow me on my social media, links and information about my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages are in the description too. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell. Again, thanks for watching.